Exercise, we're going to be doing an exercise for the low abdominal muscles, and we're using our yoga blanket folded like so. So this is the size and shape and height, and it's the perfect size for placing under my rib cage. So as I lie on my back, I'm going to place my rib cage on the blanket, which means that my head and my pelvis will be lower than my rib cage. So I've also got a block for my head as well so that it's more comfortable. Otherwise, I'd probably tilt my head back and be uncomfortable in my neck. So let's lie down, and we're going to place our bottom ribs right at the front edge of the blanket. And then the head on the block. So as you can see, with the ribs elevated like this, there's like a waterfall effect of my lower back all the way down to my pelvis. So there's a lot more space behind my lower back, and my pelvis is in a little bit of an anterior tilt. So I'm resting more on the tailbone than on the center of the sacrum, where I would rest if I had my ribs on the floor. And now I'm going to place my heels up on this chair so that I have a roughly 90-degree angle in my knees and my hips. Okay, so the exercise is, we're going to take a breath in, and we're going to think of the pubic bone, which is the bone in the front bottom of the pelvis here between the legs. We're going to think of drawing the pubic bone up towards the waist. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, low abdominals move the pubic bone towards the waist. So it's very subtle. It's a small movement because I'm not prioritizing getting the lower back to imprint or to push into the floor. And as a matter of fact, because of the extra lordosis in my lumbar spine and that slight anterior tilt of my pelvis, I'm pretty much just going to neutral. And release. So you can try that a few times just to warm up those muscles and get those lower abdominal muscles doing their job. You want to make sure that you're not using the hamstrings because the hamstrings attach to the bottom of the pelvis. So make sure you don't increase the weight of your feet on the chair. And you're also not using the upper abdominals to pull the bottom ribs down either, which would look like this. Okay, I'm going to keep those lower ribs relaxed and kind of elevated, and just use the low abdominals to draw the pubic bone up. And then I end up pretty much on the center of my sacrum. Now I can hold this position and lift one heel and then the other. And you can alternate. Or you can try and lift both heels at the same time. And down. You want to make sure that you're not pushing forward with the abdomen when you lift, but you're still creating that concavity through the lower abdominals. Okay. And relax for a moment more. So now we're going to add a little bridge to that. So take your breath in, keep the bottom ribs open and high. Exhale, pull the pubic bone up, rocking the pelvis back towards the center of the sacrum. Hold that position. There's still no pressure in my heels, but now I'm going to press into my heels and float the pelvis and just bring it up to about the same level as the ribs. Okay, and then lower it back down and completely release it back. Exhale the pubic bone up. Heels push into the chair. Float the pelvis to about rib height and then back down and release. So now we're adding a little bit more hamstring and hips. Low abdominals, hold the low abdominals, press into the heels, float the pelvis, lower and release. One more. So the nice thing about this is that because we're starting in that a little bit of an increased lordosis and a slight anterior tilt, we're not imprinting the spine, we're not pushing the bones into the floor. So if you have any contraindications about spinal flexion, or maybe you don't want to push your back into the ground, this might be a nice workaround. So give it a try. Let me know how it goes for you.